G'day legends, and we've got a bit of news to cover that we didn't get to cover while we were covering what turned out to be a pretty good Apex event. Some of it relating to it, some of it relating to other MMA organizations around the world. I know, we're allowed to do that on MMA YouTube. We're allowed to mention other MMA organizations. And one of them, which is a couple of days late, but I do think it's interesting, which is what we will get into first. Khamzat Chimaev got offered to go on Adin Ross's live stream. Now, I am not exactly aware of who Adin Ross is, other than he appears with Dana White sometimes, but I do know from the context of the MMA community, what I mean to say is I've never watched a single Adin Ross stream. You know what? If it wasn't for the UFC and Adin Ross having a little bit of crossover, I would have no idea who Adin Ross is. But he is apparently one of the biggest streamers in the world, especially on Kick. Apparently, on a Kick stream, Adin Ross is going to pull in around 50 to 60,000 viewers per stream. Not as quite as good as when I am doing a Fighter Matrix stream. They're kind of rookie numbers. Adin's going to need to up those numbers if he wants to compete with a Dougie's Corner Matrix stream. But pretty bloody good numbers, mate. And in a world where you are challenging for a UFC title, you are trying to become a UFC champion, you are trying to up your pay-per-view points, you are trying to up how much the UFC is going to pay you, especially when you are in these sort of contract negotiations. Once you become a UFC champion, you do tend to renegotiate your contract with the UFC. And how much you get paid depends entirely on how many people want to watch you fight. Now, there was a time where Khamzat Chimaev was a crossover star within our sport. And what I mean by that is you've got your Islam Makhachevs who are going to be a superstar across the entire sport, but then you've got people like Umar Nurmagomedov that are going to be a star within our sport, but generally on that eastern side of the audience. You know, that Muslim fan base, the Saudi Arabian fan base, the Caucasus fan base, the Russian fan base, maybe not crossing off so much on the Western Hemisphere. I think Sharon Nurmagomedov is one of these fighters as well. However, Khamzat Chimaev absolutely has got that star power potential in him. One, because those first rounds with Khamzat Chimaev are so bloody ferocious. And two, because of the kind of activity that he used to have. During the Big Lie era, Khamzat Chimaev was not a global superstar, not by any means, but a star within the MMA community where both sides of the aisle liked him. The Westerners liked him, the Muslim fan base liked him. He was very well liked, and he could be that again, which means that if Khamzat Chimaev could get himself back on board with that Western audience, then he could really go into these contract negotiations with the UFC if he does get it done over DDP, which I don't think he will, but it's a 50-50 fight to me. It's a very, very close fight, even for the DDP believers like myself. It's a very close fight. So there's a good chance Khamzat Chimaev will get it done. I'm not insane enough to say there's no chance Khamzat can't get it done. And if he does get it done, he's going to be in there in the office with Dana White. They're going to have to hash out a new contract. If he had done the Adin Ross stream, it would have been bloody good for him. But apparently, according to Mr. Ross, Khamzat Chimaev wanted $700,000 to do the stream with him. Let's check it out.
Oh, Cobb, I actually want to tell you something really funny. I don't care. I'm going to air it out, Prismel. On God, I connected Prismel with one of, someone from Khamzat's team, and the guy said $700,000 to stream with Cosma. I never laughed so hard in my life.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was insane.
$700K?
Yeah.
That's just bad.
Am I allowed to show gambling on YouTube? Is that a thing? I mean, Guru and Mighty Mouse have gambling commercials. I think you're allowed to show gambling on YouTube. You must be allowed to show gambling on YouTube, yeah. Why do they do gambling streams on Kick, though, not on YouTube? That's weird. Maybe you're only allowed to promote. I don't know what the rules are. I might just block this out. Doesn't matter. Anyway, there you go. Straight from Adin Ross's mouth. Khamzat Chimaev wants $700,000 to go on the stream with him, putting himself in front of a giant audience that Khamzat Chimaev could absolutely be using. Why the hell did he say no to that? And was he really asking for $700,000? Here's the thing with Khamzat, right? He gets a lot of gifts from his I won't be able to monetize this. Doesn't matter. Khamzat gets a lot of gifts from his dictatorial mate, yeah? Now, does this guy just shower gifts upon him? because he likes to be around one of the most dangerous fighters in the world, Khamzat Chimaev. What's his name? Ramazan Tamirov, I believe, is the dictator's name. So is Ramazan Tamirov just showering gifts upon Khamzat Chimaev because he wants to be in good books with him? Or is Khamzat Chimaev the kind of guy that enjoys gold-plated AK-47s and maybe asks for those things? Khamzat Chimaev has shown this need and this want to accrue as much money as possible before. I mean, he did do a crypto scam rug pull. It's not really fair to call them scams, is it? Because you should know by now that when a celebrity drops a meme coin, they are going to steal, or it's not even steal. You're just giving them money for nothing. It's not a scam. They're not stealing it. They're meme coin. They're not worth anything of value. There is no reason for the celebrity to keep them going. Once I get to 5,000 subscribers, I will be releasing Dougie coin. Get on board with that. Hashtag get scammed. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm going to take your money. But Khamzat's shown this before. He has done the rug pull trick on his fans before. And then did the old, well, I didn't know anything about it, mate. Had nothing to do with me, mate. I was around the wrong people. This isn't on me at all. And now Khamzat's out there asking for $700K to come on this streamer, to go on Adin Ross's stream. Does he actually want the $700,000? Or is he doing the classic trick of pricing himself out, which is a polite way of saying no, which I think is ruder than just saying, no, I don't want it. Sorry, mate, I'm too busy. I'm locked in for the fight card. I don't want to do it. Is he what I like to do in my drywalling business sometimes? Just over-quoting so you don't have to do a bad job. You know, could be that. And on the other side of it, why would Adin Ross really want Khamzat Chimaev on his stream as well? Like, Khamzat Chimaev, phenomenal fighter. He really is. I don't have anything against Khamzat Chimaev personally. Like, he did the scam thing. He used to be active. He's not so active anymore. But I've got nothing against him personally. These are just the facts. But Khamzat Chimaev on the microphone, he's not the most entertaining bloke to listen to, is he? Khamzat Chimaev on the brother. This Drickers guy, I smash him, brother. I destroy him, brother. Cool, Khamzat. Yeah. So what do you think? Like how badly are you gonna hurt him? You got any tactics for Drickus Duplessis, brother? This guy don't even know, brother. I smash him, brother. I destroy him, brother. Like, it'd be very hard for Khamzat Chimaev to hold down a live stream. I think, you know, even if, like, they could do some gambling on there, or maybe they could whip out their own fighter matrix. Who knows? Even if they pulled out all the tricks, I don't know how well Khamzat Chimaev would be able to hold down a live stream for an hour. Adin Ross's numbers might plummet all the way down to my numbers. Who knows? But Adin Ross might have dodged a bullet here. You know, he might have gotten his entire stream all excited. You know, guys, we're going to have Khamzat Chimaev on the stream tomorrow. And then his numbers go from like 50K to 6 to 70K, 80K. And everyone's all excited to see Khamzat, and Adin Ross comes on the stream the next day and goes, oh, sorry, guys, Khamzat pulled out of the stream. He says he's feeling sick. He couldn't make it to the stream today. Never know. But listen, I think this is a bad call from Khamzat. I think if he got offered to do the stream, it would have been great. It would have been great. Because, again, Khamzat can be a crossover star, and he can be one again. And if he destroys Drickus, he might be again. As an Aussie fan, someone who loves Robert Whittaker, one of the greatest fighters of all time. Don't look at the chat. Don't look at the comment section of this video. As someone who loves Robert Whittaker, and even though Khamzat Chimaev ripped his jaw apart, broke 3 teeth in his face, I still like Khamzat. I still enjoy watching Khamzat fight. So Khamzat can still be a crossover star, not just a star on the eastern side of the audience, but a star for all of them. Who doesn't want to see a madman go all out in round 1? We all love that. So I think it would have been good for Khamzat to do it, but maybe it was just a simple, like, we're too close to, but then just say that. Don't say, I was going to say maybe it was just we're too close to the fight and I've really got to lock in on fight camp, but just say that. Just say that, you know, don't make up some ungodly number. All right, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, speaking about pay, speaking about fighters, is Rebecca and Duncan. Duncan, Scotland forever, Scotland freedom. And Brenner and Rivovix both got fight of the night. I love this so much. I love that the UFC did it. These two absolutely both deserved fight of the night. It saved the card. There were other good fights on the card, but these two were just absolute barn burners. These two were amazing. You know, I'm sorry that, what was his name? Silva didn't get one with all of his Cody Garbranding out of the way of things. But these two were great, and I love when the UFC does stuff like this, and it's because the UFC do stuff like this from time to time, and we see Dana White, you know, on the Contender Series say that he's going to give both guys their full paycheck, or if someone loses a fight, but it was a hell of a war, you know, just on a regular fight night as well, Dana White will say, we're going to give this guy his entire paycheck. I love that the UFC does this. Now, does there need to be some changes in UFC fighter pay? Absolutely. This isn't a conversation about that. There do need to be some changes in UFC fighter pay, without a doubt. But also, the UFC, you sign a contract with the UFC for a certain amount of fights, for a certain amount of money, and the UFC will go and sprinkle on tips and bonuses if you actually fight for it. And there is nothing that pisses me off more than seeing two fighters turn a fight into a bit of a sparring match. Last week, right? Not last week, the week before last week, at Whittaker versus Riddler, Whittaker was robbed. He wasn't, but you know what I'm saying. Last week at Whittaker versus Riddler, well, Whittaker could have won that fight. It was damn close. Whittaker's still got another title run in him, I believe. This video isn't about Whittaker, Dougie. Last week, we saw Billy Anakana versus Ibo Aslan. Do you remember this fight? This fight went for 15 minutes, mirror matchup, one shot against each other the entire time. A fucking sparring match. And I don't understand what goes through these fighters' heads when you have got a company that is going to give you 2 fight of the nights if you guys both throw it down and go at it. You've got a company where even if you lose but you show heart, there is a chance of Dana White giving you a bonus or giving you your win. And when you yourself are there with your corner and your coaches, and you know you are only getting half your paycheck if you don't win. What causes these sparring matches to happen? Is it just a bad day at work? Is it just a bad day at the office? I don't know, but it's so frustrating to see when a fighter just doesn't fire and get into it, and it makes you rage out. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, you got nights like this where the fighters are just going at it, trying to kill each other. And it's great to see the UFC go and do bonuses like that, because it doesn't matter if you up the fighter pay. It just comes down to the will inside the fighter. Remember when we had that one fight night where the fighters convinced Dana White to do 300k bonuses, and it turned out mid as shit. I think it was a London card, or it was an England card. I think it was an England card. And it just turned out mid as shit, and Dana White was like, I'm never doing that again. Never ask me to do that again. Like, if it's already to the point where losing half of your paycheck can't convince you and get you motivated enough to bite down on the bullet, Billy Anakana and Ibo Aslan, and maybe try switching stances so you're no longer locked in a mirror match of jab, jab, low kick, nothing else will. But when the fighters do turn on and try, it's so good to see, and that was great to see. So, that's that. Now, the last thing that I wanted to show and share with you guys, regional MMA. Don't click off. A young fighter tried to do the Max Holloway in the last 10 seconds. Check it out. I'll go all the way back here so you guys can see better. I'll go all the way. You know what? You guys don't even need to see me. Yeah, there we go. Enjoy this. Right. Glenn Norman is going to point to the ground and be like, come on, last 10 seconds, let's do the Max Holloway.
Great work by Norman, then a good job by Walker to find his way out of the back there.
He's asleep, standing up, bro.
Stones him.
Oh my God. Asleep, standing up. Let's watch it again because it's regional MMA, so we can play it again and again. Big overhand. Oh, when was the last time you guys saw when was the last time you saw somebody be out cold while standing up? And you know, this is the thing. The Max Holloway 10-second point down. It's so dangerous to emulate because Max is just swinging. Like, it is put your head down and just swing. And if the other guy doesn't meet you in the center with the same kind of range, he can just pick his shot because your head is down while you're swinging like a madman. Here he goes. Does the point down. Doesn't even get a chance to let one off. Oh, man, and so early in his career. Fatality. Absolute fatality. Corpse guard. DC would be going, now this here, you do not want to be in this position. If you remember, you just saw this week's memes members video. DC with, who was it? Curtis Blades with Derek Lewis on top of it. I think it was Derek Lewis. Was it Derek Lewis? I think it was Derek Lewis. Might have been Derek Lewis. Can't tell. Anyway, Derek Lewis on top of Curtis Blades, and DC is going, now this is the position you don't want to be in. Bloody brutal, mate. Bloody brutal. But that's it. That's the news. Khamzat Chimaev probably should have done the Adin Ross stream. I think it would have been good for his career. Well done to the UFC for giving 2 Fight of the Night bonuses. Fighters. You know? That's what happens when you have a crack. It's good to see. But also... Glenn Norman, you had a crack. You tried to make a viral moment for yourself, and you did. You succeeded, Glenn. Unfortunately. Oh my God, poor Glenn Norman. He'll be back. He'll be back. We're on the Glenn Norman Contender Series 2026. We still believe in you, Glenn Norman. We follow you. If this is your first time here, g'day, welcome. My name is Dougie. I make an MMA video every day of the week, and I try and go live as often as possible, which usually turns out to be every single day. Let me know in the comments, do you think Khamzat Chimaev should have done Adin Ross? Would you really have wanted to see it? Really? Khamzat? Smash him, brother. Destroy him, brother. Let me know about it down there in the comments. If you can't be bothered commenting anything, just leave a like. That always helps. And if you're one of the bloody legends of the channel, which means you pay for your membership or you've been gifted a membership, or you're always down there in the comments section, you're liking the videos, all that good stuff, interacting with the channel, you guys know who you are. And to say thank you, your names are up on the next slide. Until then, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have yourselves a good day. Bye.